So how did we do this week? This week started pretty solid. So we're going to review the levels and our trade plan. We're going to review the indicator, and we're going to do it weekly so that you can see exactly how things worked out for the week. All right, so Monday, we called for obviously downside shift inside of the trade plan. And what we want to focus on is how we react at the variance zones here. And so you can see this is a call variance zone. So this means that we open above here and we see some moves to the LIS and we catch and then we move up. You see the purple? That means the shorts or move to the downside. What triggered some downside sell-off here, not just in the market here, but obviously we could see a strong anchored VWAP here and a move there. And when we break out of our variance zone, that's when we know that we're taking a move to downside. Now, you probably saw in the trade plan that there was a pretty sizable gap here between level 6878 and level 6853. We read that clearly on the tape. We double checked that, and it ended up being accurate, right? So Monday, start of the week is always where you see the balancing, where you want to wait and see how the market's going to lay out. Immediate sell-off, or should we say immediate sell pressure at the open there. That was a nice day. So what we're looking at is, did the levels, did the plan hold up? The answer is yes. And if it doesn't, we're going to call it out here in our recaps, okay? So let's move on to Tuesday. Same thing with Tuesday. We really liked Tuesday. Tuesday was great. Variance zone at 6866 to 6856. The idea is these variance zones are, they tell us pressure, right? So teal up, purple down, right? So real simple. We open right here with our anchors, our VWAPs sitting here. And the signal is pretty straightforward. Once we caught a move outside of, on the edge of the variance zone, this is a signal to go up. You stack that with influence over VWAP. It's a signal to go up. Now this is the ATR advantage, VWAP with ATR advantage here. So while this is not running at this current time, when the market is moving, this is actually running, right? It goes from red or green, yellow, red. And it tells us with the settings that we have based on the ATR of any stock that we're trading, what the extension is, right? So when it can even calculate pre-market data. So when we catch a move from here, we know exactly, based on other real-time leading indications, we know where the market has shifted and where it's exhausted, right? Ultimately, the regime line is where we're going to see hedging and balancing, and then LIS too. But what we want to focus on is, from zone to zone, we're clear, right? Again, this was plotted before the market. So when the market opens up and we come up out of this area here with one retracement, right? We know that, and we're going to move. And then we know the move is done by the time we get into the variance zone, and we would have to chip through this variance zone with strong pressure past the regime line to get out of there. So that day was plotted well. Again, the purpose of this is to show you not our trades, but to show you how our trade plan and our zones and our levels and our indicator, how it worked out weekly. All right, so Tuesday worked out pretty well. All right, so here's a good one. So here is Wednesday. Now Wednesday we have a stacked, we want to touch on that. We have a stacked zone that overlaps here. That means that there's tons of pressure down here. Now this is a great indication of where you're going to see some rebalancing. We got the regime line. This is where Wall Street hedges. Again, level beast. You can go to our site to check out, click the training tab, and there's plenty of videos there free to watch and get the context of this, right? So now what we're saying here is, if you see a stacked variance zone, right? So this purple, it means downside pressure. This means upside pressure, right? You get the LAS and you got the regime line. All of this stack here together is a clear indication that you would need some strong pressure. And this right here would prop the market up. That's exactly what happened, right? You can clearly see there. Holding since about that 2-3 o'clock time frame. And we start to prop up. All right. Now, once the market balances here, this is a clear, now for general traders, they're going to see it's a VWAP bounce, but no, this is a zone where we've identified that there is sell pressure here, and you can clearly see it. Again, this was before the market. So the level beast multi-map indicator is a leading indicator, right? We have to do data analytics every day, and we have to write up the report. We have to put it inside the indicator, and we have to be right as much as we can, right? So it's a beautiful thing to see when we post this, 9:15, sometimes 9 o'clock, but typically 9:15, and sometimes it's at 9:20 if we can add, because the data is coming in, sometimes it's coming in pretty late, and we're trying to really, distill that data. But either way, it's before the market. And when we see this behavior, boy, we just get really excited about that, right? LIS2 stacked right on top of the bearing zone. We see a rejection here. That's a trade. And then we see a hold and a breakout. Now, we're not saying that you will never break out these zones, but we are saying when you come into these zones for the first approach, maybe even the second approach as well, you are going to see there's a high probability for us to see the corresponding reaction. So what corresponds to the teal is a reversal to the upside. What corresponds to the purple is a reversal to the downside. After you test this area a number of times, you need strong volume to break out, and you're coming to your next zone. That's really what happens there, right? So Tuesday, all in all, successful day, right? And then here we are on Thursday. Now we're going to say Thursday was a little tricky, right? Data came in late, and so you can see the zone here was just touched at 10:30, and we broke down. We opened underneath LIS 1 and 2. So you know the rules there. Under the LIS, we're down. Above the LIS, we're up. The first approach, we're looking for a reversion to the mean. So we're looking for some type of move up into here and then a push down. But really the move comes early at 8:45. You can see it there, touches, and then boom, it goes. So you have to be cautious and watch that as well. But this is a simple rebalancing. Now we're going to the end of the month, so we have to factor that in as well. And we clear sell-off, right? And so we are respecting our zones again, tail, upside, right? We don't break out with any strong volume. We kind of don't break out at the end of the day with any real strong volume. And this is where we trade it, right? We didn't have any levels in this area here, and that really just worked out that way. So we did see some rebalancing in this area. What we want to focus on is the regime line, hedge point. And so in our trade plan for this day, we said that a sell-off, right, at a downside action would be met with strong buy pressure, right? And so so the team was prepared for that, and so good job. So all in all, again, the day as well. This day here, if we're going to take away here, we're going to research here as we go closer to the end of the month. What we're going to look at is any other targets here that could be met between our bearing zone and our last magnet here. So we would like to see some targets here, perhaps 885. We would like to see some targets there, but we can't make them up. We have to distill the data. So this is something that if we're going to call out something we want to look at, we're going to look at that. All right. So this was an anomaly of a day, Friday. We almost never have these levels stacked here. This suggests serious pressure here. We don't like to see that. This is an indication. I'll give you an example, guys. When you see this type of behavior and you start to move into this area, this is an indication to stay out because it's a stacked pressure, and it's unpredictable in some respects. We did take this trade. We'll tell you that went to the upside through the bearing zone simply because the rules state if we're in the bearing zone, we're coming to it, right? To the upside. Pretty straightforward. And the mean reversion for this trade is going to be the regime line. We know we have to touch it to hedge. That's the end of the month, end of the week, highest probability to come up and trade. And so this is an excellent day here. This told us when you see levels stacked like this, there's pressure here, period, right? There's just orders layered here, there's interest layered here, right? And so you'd have to cut through that, right? So at the open, as we come down in here and you've got this indication here, and you've got a bearing zone sitting here with the regime line up here, all right, it's a high probability to revert back to the regime line, right? So, and possibly the LIS, right? The rules are under the LIS, we go down, but not before reversion, but we tag it early. So this week, and you'll see that at the end of the month, you'll see us start to tag the LIS level, right? That reversion will happen prior to the market sometimes, or in the early session, and then we rip down. So or up, either way. All right, it applies to both. If we're open above it, we'll tag and move. Open below it, we'll tag and move. Now, we're giving you, we're layering in our full system so that you understand, all right? And we'll break it down now. Very simple. Every morning, 9:15, we post these levels and we post the trade plan, right? The trade plan It's pretty straightforward. So if you were to take a look at the trade plan for the market map indicator, it's right there, right? This is for Friday, right? And in our trade plan, we'll put our notes. We'll break down volume, we'll break down gamma, we'll break down pivot levels, whatever is relevant for the day. We'll tell you what we're opening at. We'll tell you what we like to see. We'll actually factor in the VIX, and we'll put some trader language in there so you understand what we're doing. Okay, we don't make decisions for you. We just share our data analytics. We'll do some lives and all that stuff, and you can see that in the future. But right now, we're just sharing with you what our analytics reveal, right? So essentially, you have a quant team working for you, right? And what we say is, the more data points that you have, the better confluence. And so this is a leading indicator based on our research. We plot it on the screen. It changes every single day, right? Every single day. You can see it there. Every day it changes. Every single day, right? And we can only adjust based on the market data, right? And bake all that in there. Then with the VWAP with ATR Advantage Plus, this is here. There's a number of metrics in here, right? And you can set them to your liking, but we do have a how-to with settings. And then this shows you basically moves and extensions on any time frame that you want, and it factors in the stock that you're watching, plus a couple of things that we bake into it, right? So we know that if we catch a rip somewhere, then we know where that rip is going to exhaust that. So when the day is closed, the day is closed. So this is not reflecting this day, but we remember on Thursday, this was at 100 and some odd %, right? And so by the time we get down into this area here, we know there's going to be a violent move. This helps scalpers. This helps you not catch a falling knife. This helps you with entries, late entries. This helps you to know, is the move done? What's the probability? It's just completely invaluable, right? And so we bake that into our indicator. It's got a couple other updates coming. So this is the Level Beast market map indicator here. This is the Level Beast VWAP with ATR Advantage here. There's a settings and training there that we are giving you guys. What we're going to do is at the end of the week, we'll do our week recaps just like this, so you can see exactly if the levels worked out, if they didn't work out, and where we can make adjustments. We're looking forward to next week, guys. Stay green.